Hey everybody, it's Robin talking to you from my balcony on a nice, cool July day. What is it today? The 3rd? And we've just survived the heat wave. We hit up to 45 degrees. And that went on for about 5 days. It was really nasty. You couldn't really do anything except wear a wet t-shirt. So that's what I did. It's really hard to sleep. A lot of older people died in Vancouver. That is definitely something we don't see very often here. Usually it's 25 degrees in the summer max, and an occasional day you hit 30. 45 is just ridiculous. But that's what we can look forward to more and more of, you know, and this climate change. It's just getting worse every year. The smoke coming in from the States from wildfires that also hangs around a lot longer. Last year we had it for a week. Normally I would have been like a day or two. So in the interior, I have relatives where they're still on a warning to possibly evacuate because of fires. So it gets even worse in the interior of BC. Vancouver is lucky because we're near the ocean, which is just right over there. You can see it. So we do get a little bit cooler than the interior. But anyway, I managed to survive. So just going to update some new things as far as my personal health goes. First I want to mention I had already been speaking about 20 minutes previously, and I found out the camera was taking photos of me for 20 minutes. So it's really, really irritating when that happens, because I actually had a lot of I was on a good run there about things I was talking about, and there's no way I'm going to be able to duplicate that again. So this is the problem with GoPro, and everything is sensitive, so you got to be very careful where you're holding it, and you know, the buttons that get pushed too easily, switching modes. So first about my health, you know, I had an aneurysm in early April, and I'm still recovering from that. I have an interesting thing that happened in my scalp. I noticed where these cut lines join and where they actually went into the brain, there's now like a dent. It feels like the tectonic plates have shifted, and it's sinking in. It's really bizarre. I noticed I did not have this a week ago, so there's something going on. So it could be that my skull is imploding. That's a side effect they didn't tell me about. So I'm not too happy about it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the Yul Brynner look, which is, you know, where my hair is going anyway. If that's going to really work with this dent in there. So I might have to use some caulking putty or something with flesh tone caulking putty. So anyway, other than that, and the numbness, which continues, and that may continue for another 3 to 6 months. I don't know how long for the nerves to repair themselves, but there's, you know, a bit of feeling coming back here. It's slow. I'm starting to get the urge to scratch. There's like the tickling and the itching, even though when you touch it often you don't feel anything, but it's starting to show up, which is a good sign. So yeah, hopefully that works out. I've been in for a CAT scan a couple of weeks ago. As a follow-up, there was no more bleeding in my brain, so that's good. I may not have to do that again for a while. So yeah, I was extremely lucky. 50% chance of survival. My doctor repeats that to me, and it gets to be a little bit irritating because, you know, while I was in the hospital, I had no idea why I was there until later, and it didn't really hit me until I got home how serious it was when you start reading about it, aneurysms, and the survival rate. So I was extremely lucky. So this is just pushing me more and more to do what I love, which is play even longer solos and improvise as much as I can. That's like the life essence for me. That's the force. Can I improvise this song? If I can, yes, that's exactly what I want. Some people call it noodling, which I find really irritating to hear that word applied to improvisation. Was Miles Davis a noodler? Was John Coltrane a noodler? Was Louis Armstrong a noodler? There's a long history of improvisation in music. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't appreciate it anymore, or don't know what it is, so they call it noodling. And they have no idea what the process is behind that. So when I am improvising, I am in another zone. I am gone. And that sometimes takes a few minutes to get into, and I start to play better the longer I'm playing. But that is a search for new ways of doing things. So if I've been used to playing a certain riff a certain way, I will always try to change that if I can, because everybody has a, you know, predefined set of riffs and ideas that they use all the time. I don't care who you are, you're using ideas you've used before. The hard part is to get away from those ideas that are set in your brain from years of playing a certain pattern, a chord pattern, a lick. So you have to really, to break out of that, you've got to sort of examine what you're doing while you're playing and say, hey, wait, stop, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to play this in a way that is different than the way I did it 30 seconds ago. Rearrange the notes. Play a note longer or shorter. Hold a note. Play a lot of notes. Breathe. Take a break. Come in on the 1, come on the 2, the 3, or the 4. Play out of the box. You know, play something that doesn't fit the chord. That can actually be really good relief for a while, as long as you don't overdo it. And so that is sort of my process. It's looking for those new notes and those new phrases as fast and as often as possible during the jam. So if I'm playing for an hour, I'm constantly searching. And this is the workout my brain is getting. And you're hearing music being made in real time, which is something that doesn't really happen anymore in music. People don't think about improvisation. They either don't know what it is or they just never hear it, because your top 10 or top 50 on Spotify is nothing like that. It's all done by computers. It's zeros and ones. What's missing is the human level, and that means mistakes as well. I had a Prince tribute video up a few years ago that went viral, and I thought it was like passable, but also had a lot of mistakes. This thing went on catching on like wildfire, and everybody loved it, and I couldn't figure that out. It took me a while to figure it out, that it was actually the mistakes that were causing people to enjoy it, because they just don't hear that anymore. So that's the difference, you know, with music that's done the old way, which, you know, of course in the 70s we had so many jam bands and people heard more improvisation. So most of my audience is over 50, and they still know that. They know what it is, so they appreciate what I'm doing and playing in the moment, you know, which is not noodling. Noodling is something you might be doing while you're on the phone, talking to somebody, and absent-mindedly playing around on your guitar, you know, with no thought involved. That might be what you would say noodling, or doing something during a tune-up, or actually playing a scale, straight scale. I would call that noodling, because that isn't music. So that is part of the comments I get on my channel all the time, and yeah, it gets a bit irritating. Sometimes I really don't want to get involved in the comment section, because I get a lot of trolls as well, so I'm constantly blocking people. I don't really need that negativity on my channel. I face enough of that on the street, so I don't need it on my own channel. So I'm either blocking these people or I just delete that stuff. And I do try to answer as many questions as possible when people ask me that. So it is a lot of time involved in just responding to comments. Right now I have over 60,000 subscribers, and I can say that in June last month I hit a record 5 million views in the month of June. I did not make a dime off YouTube, and I like to repeat this because a lot of people don't get it. When I say I'm demonetized, that means demonetized. That means no option for income ever. You cannot turn it on in any way. So, and it doesn't matter if I have 5 million views. That doesn't open up my channel to getting money. I could have 1 million subscribers right now. It will not make a difference. I am at 0 all the time, and it's been that way for 10 years. So I'm sort of stuck in a position now of having this channel and trying to supply fuel for it, but not really getting anything out of it. So this is why I am trying to push the support options on my channel, which is the only way I can do it, keep the channel going. Support links for Patreon, Bandcamp, you know, t-shirts, or buy my book, That's the only way I can do it. And a lot of people still don't see these things, even though I put them in the description and in the top comment. They're still asking me, oh man, you need Patreon. And I'm like, I've had this for a year already. And so this support is probably the preferred support for me, because it's like a monthly subscription. So if you value the channel and you like what I'm doing, and I am doing a lot. I mean, I'm putting up a video a day. Nobody does this on YouTube. Just look around at all the top channels. No one is putting up a video a day. Most of them do once a week, maybe twice if they're pushing it. But I am far beyond that. And you know, it's a lot, but I have so much material that I'm trying to put up. Sometimes a video a day is not even enough, because I've got a backlog of busking videos and band videos, plus the stuff I'm doing at home here where I'm improvising. I have like at least 30 tracks already backlogged to be putting up on YouTube of jams, because I'm doing up to 1 or 2 a day now. I'm like a bionic machine. I'm Steve Austin, you know, better, stronger, faster as far as jamming goes. So that is something that's really important to me right now, is to keep that pace going, because if you don't keep playing, you lose the edge. And I don't want to lose the edge. I want to come into a jam not having to think about, I need to warm up my fingers, or my fingers hurt because I haven't played for a month. I mean, my fingers are really, you know, calloused right now. I guess you can't really see it here, but you look at my middle finger here. This is, you know, layers of skin have been removed from this already. So I am keeping it up every day. I am writing new tracks every day. I start from scratch with the backings. You know, I get a drum pattern I like. I add bass. I add keyboards. I add second and third guitar parts, which I will, you know, put in on GarageBand in the loop, in the backing track, so that I have something to play against. So once I find something I like, you know, a chord pattern, then it's easy for me to jam. So all these things are original, and I make them from scratch. So please check out Bandcamp. And if you like the song, now I just put up an hour jam, an hour funk blues jam. Please buy the track on Bandcamp. You'll get much better audio quality, and you'll also help me, because, you know, I don't really want to just be putting on all these live shows and not getting anything out of it. So that's why I'm trying to make sure everybody knows that there are ways to donate and help the channel out. I mean, there are people making millions of dollars playing Minecraft and video games. I will never understand this, ever, how this is even possible, but that's the world we live in now. And actual, you know, having talent or creative ideas and expression is not really valued anymore. So that's what I'm doing with the support links. I have a new idea. I want to run this past you for Patreon. As you see, I have various levels in there, starting at $5, and they work up to $10. You get 2 Bandcamp tracks a month. $20, I give you guitar tips and advice through email. People are always asking me about this, lessons and that kind of thing. Well, I'm not doing lessons direct. I'm doing guitar advice in more of a general way, more of a Zen way, to help. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to sit down in front of you and tell you how to play a certain riff, because there's tons of videos on YouTube that already do that kind of thing. And I'm more in the idea of getting you to be a more open player, that you can achieve your own style and not just be copying somebody. So that is an option on Patreon for that. And then after that comes a $100 level where I will do any song you want. I will dedicate it to anyone you want. And if it's a birthday song, I'm going to sing you happy birthday and put it up on the day that you want. So this could be a gift to yourself, or a gift to your wife, or significant other, anniversary gift, whatever. I've actually been doing well with this. I've had at least 12 song requests in the last month or 2, and some are even booking for the future, like for September, October, to get a song ready for their special day. So this is really cool, and I have fun with it because I get to take a song and I'm not going to just copy the song straight. As you can see from my videos, I'm doing improv, so I'm probably going to build something around the theme of the song, or a chord sequence of the song, or take a section of the song, whether it's the bridge or the chorus, or the verse, whatever, and build a jam section around it, or then I can do my own thing. So it's like a tribute to the original, but also I'm getting to play madly for an hour. So you'll get your money's worth for sure. I might have an exception to that. Somebody wanted to have me do Stairway to Heaven, and they want it done straight. So that is actually something I'm not really used to doing anymore, because it's hard for me to do anything straight, but I'm going to do it because that's what they wanted. So I'm going to put it up, and hopefully it's not going to get banned from YouTube, because I don't know how strict Led Zeppelin is with their songs coming up on YouTube. Some bands don't like their material being played at all, and they will have it removed. So I'm not sure yet if that's even going to make it up. We'll see. Anyway, that's about as close as I get to doing a straight song copy. Stairway to Heaven, which is something I learned when I was 12, back in the 70s. So we'll see how that works out. But anyway, I'm still doing long jams, and I'm going to stagger it. This is going to be the stagger schedule. First it will be a busking video one day. The next day it will be maybe a video from me at home improvising, and then the next day a band video, and that could be from one of a dozen bands I had with a dozen different singers. So I have so much of this material because I had every show recorded while I was still gigging. People are often still asking me, why aren't you in a band? Shouldn't you join a band? Well, again, I was running bands for 15 years, all my own. I auditioned every member, yes or no, and ran the show. And we did a lot of gigs, but that's all over now because all the clubs have closed. Between 2010, 2018, almost everything shut down. If you look down in the distance there, there's a street called Denman that used to have, you see that big hotel there, right in front of my finger there, that large building. That used to have a great little bar in it called the Comox Bar and Grill. I used to play there all the time with trios, four-piece bands, and duos. That's gone now because they're going to convert that hotel into condos or rental units. And that place had been there since the 80s. This has happened to a lot of places. They've been around for years. They either cannot afford the rent anymore, they're not making money off of live music. That was the main complaint I heard from managers. It was not profitable. People would come to see the live band, they wouldn't pay a cover, and then they would nurse one beer for 3 hours. So how could they make money? Because it's all about drinking, right? So that was the problem. People were not drinking anymore. So all these places I used to go to are now gone. The owners sold, and places got turned into condos because the rent was too high, and there's just a general lack of interest in live music here. It's not applying to every city in the world, but it's definitely here in Vancouver. It's dead and gone. There used to be a half a dozen places in this vicinity where you could go for a gig, and I think they're all gone now. So but I took advantage of it while I could, and that was for 10 to 15 years. So this is why I ended up on the street. I ended up there because there was really nowhere else to go other than stay home and play in the closet. And as you've been seeing on my videos, this often resulted in a lot of stress, a lot of negativity out there. There were good things that happened too, but most people don't see these videos because, out of my top 10 videos, 7 of them are all negative, confrontational, negative videos. Now, there's a reason for that. People love to watch that stuff. They like to see somebody have a hard time. It makes, I don't know, it's like a sickness. You like to see somebody else doing worse than you in some way. It makes you feel better about your own life. So I think there's a lot of that going on. It's like, I want to watch this. Somebody get violent here. Somebody's aggressive towards the guitar player. Maybe they're jealous they can't play guitar. Whatever. There's so many reasons. But YouTube pushes those kind of videos into your feed. They start getting the hits, like I have a negative panhandler bothering me for 45 seconds, 2.5 million views. Like, why? Yet my 3-hour-long improv videos from home where I'm actually playing music and it's all nice and pure and And happy, 500 views at the most. So this is the way it goes. The negative stuff gets pushed up and it gets forced into your feed, and then people are asking me, hey man, you're such a negative dude, all your stuff is negative. Well, that's because that's all you see. You know, I've got 2,000 videos on YouTube. You know, 90% of it is positive. And even the really positive ones where somebody's crying on the street, that never goes over 10,000 views at the most. Yet, you know, aggressive bum, 2.5 million. And another thing I mentioned too is that I'm not making money off these views. It doesn't matter that I had 5 million views last month or a particular video has 2.5 million views. I don't make a cent. The only ones who are making money are the record companies, like that aggressive bum video. Dire Straits claimed copyright on that. They're getting paid out, and I'm sure they're making really good coin on that video, since it's over 2.5 million views now with ads running on it. So even when I look at it, I get an ad. I'm paying Dire Straits to look at my own video. So that's how bad it is. That's how sick YouTube is, and it's just getting worse. So I am starting to think about, you know, other places where I can upload videos and try to make money. You know, I'm even considering TikTok, which I laughed at earlier, but you know, that is like the 1 minute format. I still have a lot of videos I could put up for 1 minute for a laugh. So I might try that. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention on Patreon is a possible level. At the $200 level I want to put up now is, yeah, you can pay me to go out and busk for an hour, and I will play the song you want on the street. So the $100 level is you just get one from at home. But for 200 bucks, I'll take the time and the work and the effort to go out on my old spot and play there for an hour, and I can dedicate that to you. So, because otherwise it's just, you know, too much stress. I will try to keep it short and, you know, get it done with and get out. So I'm going to try that out and see if anybody goes for it, because everybody's asking me, oh yeah, when are you going to get back out there again? And I'm saying, well, you know, probably I'm not going to do it because it's just too much stress. I had this aneurysm, and I don't really need to be getting my blood pressure raised again, you know, and that does happen. So I'm not even sure if the aneurysm wasn't caused by a combination of you know, playing on the street plus all the COVID bullshit from last year. That went on for a year. I was really depressed last year with everything that was going on. I couldn't play guitar. I didn't get any compensation like everybody else was getting for not having to be able to work. And that went on for the whole year. I was like in a pretty serious depression when December came around. I wasn't playing guitar even. I didn't have the urge to do it. And then I finally started to get it going again, playing guitar again in December, to get myself out of this depression, because I couldn't even sleep anymore. I had to cut off all social media, stop talking to a lot of people because it was just negativity all the time. And then in January, the channel started to take off, and I started to get more views, and then things picked up. I started to get donations, you know, PayPal tips, Patreon subs. So that all started. So I'm hoping the Patreon thing will really pick up, because that's like my main, you know, that's a steady income per month, and it's reliable, unlike everything else, which you never know when somebody's going to buy a song or something like that, right? So I'm still pushing that, as well as t-shirt sales. Not this one, actually. This is actually one of my favorite guitarists, Michael Schenker. This is a great album cover from 1978. It's an album called Obsession. It's one of the most influential guitar albums I ever listened to, and I still love it. And it's sort of the good old days when musicians were musicians and guitarists were still cool. So I don't know if guitar playing is considered cool anymore. A lot of people don't seem to know what it is. They've forgotten, you know, what it is. I've got comments now where people say, "Who is ZZ Top?" You know, that I couldn't believe. So it shows how old I'm getting now. I don't know who ZZ Top is. As you may know, somebody did a video on me, a compilation of all the negative things that happened to me on the street. He'd obviously seen these negative encounters with people where they're screaming at me, obscenities, telling me to shut up. And he put together a video compiling all that, which was kind of freaky when I saw it the first time. I was like, whoa, that's really bad. But he got a lot of hits, and a lot of people came to my channel, so subbed because of his video, because he's got, I don't know, at least 200,000 subscribers. But that was interesting to see that somebody would do a video about this, and it was basically supporting me in the fact that there were so many idiots out there that didn't appreciate music. I think it's called Whack Jobs and Guitars. So if you want to look at that on YouTube, that's what you need to look up. Whack Jobs and Guitars. And you see kind of a quick compilation of all this abuse I had to take. But anyway, that was nice, and it brought me some subs. Now another guy who runs a channel, I think it's called Wings of Pegasus. He's a guitar player, and he also does analyzes a lot of guitar players' styles. And he wrote me and asked me to do a jam on a 1-minute backing track so he could then analyze my style. Well, this is nice because he's already done this with the guitarist from Blue Oyster Cult, who is also one of my favorite guitarists growing up. So I find that quite interesting that I will actually be, able to do the same piece as he did. So they obviously know each other. And he started this series, which is going to be like a once-a-month thing, where some guitarist plays the same track, and then we'll see their interpretation of this music. So what I did was I did it the way I usually do everything. I did not practice anything. I did not even listen to the backing track. I just listened with my ears as it was playing, and then adapted my playing to it. Now that apparently is even more than Buck Dharma did, because he did this track, but he kind of worked out some ideas ahead of time and then he played it, which to me is, it's nice, but to me it's a bit cheating. I'd like to see people go in cold, not know the chords, not know anything, just as you're playing in the moment, adapt to what it is. And I think I did a pretty good job. I think I'll be like the 4th guitarist to do this. There was another very young guitar player that followed Buck Dharma. I think of Tal Farlow, the guy's like 13 or 14. Obviously he gets a lot of attention now because he's very young. So I'm going to be doing this, and he'll be putting it up in August, so I'll make sure I let you know, and I will be doing probably a follow-up video about that. And he'll look at my pedals, my sounds, what I'm doing, and then my techniques I use, which of course is finger picking. And I don't use a pick, and I'm probably the only one in this series that is not using a pick. So, yeah, I want to talk a little bit too about answering comments on my YouTube channel. I try to answer most comments, as long as they're civil. There's a lot of trolls that try to start arguments, and I usually delete this stuff and block the person. What's funny is I have trolls following me around now that neg my videos just for the sake of negging them, which is pretty hilarious that somebody would actually feel they have to subscribe to somebody to just neg their videos, because I've already blocked them from commenting, for various reasons. But I had a really nasty comment the other day on this video I put up for Canada Day, which is July 1st. And I put up a video of a girl who was listening to me play ZZ Top. She wanted some rock and roll, so I played her ZZ Top. And I thought that was fitting because it was from 2019. That's the only Canada Day footage I have. So I put it up, and I wished everybody a happy Canada Day. I got a comment within, 2 hours. Somebody said, "Happy Genocide Day, unsubscribed." Now just think about that for a moment. That's how bad it is. That's the kind of thing I have to deal with on my channel a lot. That's because you're open to anybody's comment. They can say whatever they want. And I can tell you right now, there is a huge load of comments that end up in my banned folder just automatically. YouTube will block anything that has a swear word in it, So if you say any profanity and you don't misspell it, it will go in the hidden folder. And that's like 2 levels. First, I'll have a section of comments that have been moderated for some reason. That might be just something somebody put a link to another video. You can't do that either. If you do put a link to another YouTube video, your comment will never be seen. It will be trashed immediately by YouTube, because a lot of people just, they're linking up to stuff that nobody wants to see, has nothing to do with my channel, or they're promoting their own stuff. So that's the reason they put it in there. Then there's a second level, show hidden comments with profanity or whatever. That one actually asks you twice if you actually want to see it, because that's how bad it is in there. I go through this sometimes and I'm just like, whoa, the amount of screaming that's going on in these comments. So thankfully I don't have to look at that all the time, and things get blocked, so it saves me some time. But I'm really trying to, get involved in the comment section, but it can be very difficult sometimes, because sometimes I'll, it's like, answer something or don't answer something, you'll get shit for it. It's like I'll answer a question and then somebody else gets upset with the answer, and then that escalates into something, and I end up deleting the whole thread. It's like, I got no time for this. Nobody wants to see this. So yeah, but that's one thing, like I say, that's probably the toughest thing right now in the last 6 months, getting used to. It's this roller coaster ride of praise and absolute depravity and insults, and I hear everything. I won't even get into it, but that's what you deal with on YouTube. You have to get used to riding it out. So, but the majority is still positive, and that's, the main thing. I get a lot of the same questions asked all the time. What guitar are you using? What pedals? What's your setup? Why are you on the street? Why aren't you in a club gig? You're a bum. People call me that all the time. And I'm going to try to answer some of these questions in the description, adding to what I've already added in there about busking life and what I was going through outside. But it's getting people to read the description that is the problem. So most people don't. They just start asking questions right away without looking. So anyway, that's sort of about it for now. I'm going to do some more Patreon request videos in the next week. Will be coming up, maybe one a week or so, plus my regular jam videos, which I hope you can donate to. And think about a t-shirt as well. They're actually a pretty good price with the Redbubble. That's where I got this, and you have a problem, they refund you or give you another shirt, so it's really cool. I think I get about 20% off t-shirt sale, so that's not a lot. It's like $4 or $5 at the most. But every little bit helps. So that's what I'm really trying to do, is keep this going and keep motivated. So I try to find ways of getting some income, because YouTube has basically killed me. So I have to do all these external links. I have an offer to do some guitar work from some guy from Nashville, and I don't know if that's going to happen yet. I haven't heard from him, but that's pretty rare to get that. So right now the main thing is Patreon support. Like if everybody just went in there with $1 or $5 a month, that would be really helpful. It's like a subscription, to the channel, which YouTube does anyway. They have that too. Pay $5, you're sort of helping out that creator. And since I'm not making a dime off of any of my views, so I'm just going to keep at it, and hopefully things develop and more opportunities arise, and we'll see what happens. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this. Oh, it went on for quite a while, but at least I was outside. All right, so take care, and I'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.